you ready, baby?
Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 2 of Up Unforwarded Review, which is 49erswebzone.com first video podcast. I'm Diego Del Barco.
I'm AJ Bolino.
And we're back here today to discuss last week's game in Pittsburgh and this upcoming game in Arizona. And we want to thank you all for coming back this week and all your Facebook likes and all your follows on Twitter. We hope to double and triple that. And hopefully you guys get the word out. All you Niners fans and all 5 of you haters from all the teams. Bring more haters on. It's all good.
Find us.
Yes.
And bring your friends.
Yes. All right, AJ, so let's talk about last week's game in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. Obviously, on the offensive side, there was a lot of pressure on them to just kind of keep up with Pittsburgh's offense and, 40-something points that Pittsburgh put up. And I thought there were a couple of players on the Niners offense that did their best to kind of keep the team in the game, and one of them was Carlos Hyde.
Sure.
Which I thought, started off well and was, he was still displaying the vision and the patience and the cutback ability early on until he got hit below the knee by Mike Mitchell.
Yep.
You can expand on that if you like. And obviously he wasn't the same after that. Running game wasn't the same. Jarrett Hayne, just not the same running back. Mike Davis didn't get off to the best start. So the running game kind of set back from that. And I thought also Colin Kaepernick built up on what he did the week 1 and had an even better game last week. But I went on about Kaepernick last week, so I don't want to repeat myself or just throw praise at him. I think I really want to talk about what the O-line did last week because it wasn't pretty.
Yeah,
it wasn't pretty at all. And I didn't have the chance to kind of review last week's game the way I was able to review Minnesota's game, but I did see the article by Eric Branch where he talked about basically everybody across the offensive line in one way or another was guilty of, had some guilt in at least one of the sacks, and a lot of times the multiple ones. So,
sure.
We know that we're going to have some struggles on the right side with Pears and DB and Marcus Martin, who's obviously a really young center.
Yep.
But we sort of try to depend on the left side of the line to kind of help us balance it out. And last week, both Boone and Staley,
yeah,
whether it was connected to Martin's calls or on their own, they let us down, and got Kaepernick sacked. The times when they were able to put the game together and allow Kaepernick to throw, there were times when obviously the playmakers, especially sure-handed people like Anquan Bolden,
yeah,
were dropping balls or getting balls knocked out. So I think overall, in the big picture, last week's struggles might be a good way to kind of get everybody recollected and sort of take pride in themselves and sort of step up from it. So that might be kind of the silver lining, but I think the offensive line, for the most part, is going to be something to continue to be concerned with going forward.
Work in progress for sure.
Yeah.
I hear you, Diego. I really do. I think the offensive line had a big part to play in last week's game. I also feel like the defense, and really this is the part that's kind of confounding, because there are a bunch of you who are watching this right now who think that our defense sucks. They're not fast enough. They're not skilled enough. The scheme isn't right. Last week's game turned on 5 plays, and all 5 of them were third downs. Last week pivoted on one critical decision by Mike Tomlin and one critical decision by Coach Mangini. The critical decision by Mangini was on 3rd and anything, I'm going to defend the sticks. I'm not giving up first downs. That was the 49ers' strategic stance. Pittsburgh's strategic stance was, fuck you, we're going to score points. And guess what? That's exactly what they did. On 3rd and anything, if Roethlisberger got a cover 3 read, a zone read on 3rd down, and he knew he had one safety high, he was going to chuck the rock as far as he could to whatever receiver was running a deep corner or a seam.
He was throwing dimes, AJ. He
was throwing dimes. He was throwing dimes. And so what happened was, on those plays, the Niners were either defending the sticks or they were hiding a cover 2, a 2 shell, in a cover 3 look. which requires one of the safeties to haul ass, get back as fast as he can, and cover a deep half. The safety I'm talking about, of course, is Eric Reed. He got smoked like a cheap cigar. That happened to Antoine Bethea as well.
Yes.
And the net is that you have players like Acker. You have players like Ward. You have players like Will Hoyt, who got absolutely roped covering deep balls. And that can't happen. Strategy, strategy, strategy. The skill level's there, and the net takeaway from this is you're never as good as you look when you win, but you're never as bad as you look when you lose. This isn't over yet.
No.
And this defense is a lot better than they showed on Sunday. I think they're going to show a little bit of that when we go into Arizona.
It's going to be a tough test. Yeah. And, moving on to this week's game at Arizona, and focusing just mostly on what the 49ers defense is going to have to be dealing with. There were two things that I came away with when I was reviewing Arizona, because I spent a lot of this week looking at Arizona tape and looking at what they do and what they don't do.
Sure.
And there's a key matchup that I think we need to look at on Sunday at Arizona, and that is on Arizona's right side of the offensive line. Now, I'm not sure whether Bobby Massey is coming back, because I know he was suspended for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think without the suspension he would have been the starting right tackle. But right now, Errol Watford has been the starting right tackle for the Cardinals, and he's a really good run blocker, because I think initially he's like an inside guy.
Yep.
He's been outside, he's been blocking the hell out of his mind on the running game, but he really struggles in the passing game. So it's going to be up to Aaron Lynch, I think, to force Watford to not be able to open the running lanes and basically keep the Arizona Cardinals in third and six, long third downs, and then exploit that side of his game, because obviously Lynch is a really good pass rusher. Out of all the pass rushers that we have, I think he's the only one with potential for 10 or more.
So basically try to get him to kick out hard. Okay.
And so it's if he's able to, and Lynch is not a really good run defender. He's not. He's working on it, but he's not there yet. So if he can sort of win that matchup on Sunday as far as on the run game, and then force the Cardinals to pass on, to go like flat out passing situations, then exploit Watford on his weak pass defense, that's one key. The other thing is Arizona gets really creative with how they get Fitzgerald and John Brown open.
Sure.
They get really creative. You're not gonna see a whole lot of fullback on Sunday from Arizona. You're gonna see a lot of 5 wide. It's like when you play Madden and you're annoyed because they're going 5 wide and you can't cover them. That's kind of what Arizona does. So they're gonna go 4 or 5 wide a lot of times.
Bingo.
They're gonna put Brown and Fitzgerald on the slot. So it's gonna be up to Brock, who likes to move inside when they go on those kind of dime, nickel and dime sets, and it's gonna be up to Jimmy Ward to really, be able to cover these two guys, because they're studs. And the chemistry between Palmer and Fitzgerald and Brown, it's out of their minds right now. It's really, really good. So it's going to be up to them to step up to the challenge, and obviously your safety is to continue to improve.
Sure. I'm happy you went with the defense, because I've had something that's really been bugging me since about the first quarter of the Minnesota game, and it's been what I'm going to call the absence of Colin Kaepernick.
Okay.
This season, to date, in 2 games, I've seen Colin Kaepernick do things, and these are quarterback habits. They're habits of effective passers. When effective passers are under pressure, they keep themselves set up to deliver the ball downfield. Now, the big knock on Kaepernick has always been that he's folded when the game's on the line. That's just been a thing. People call him a choke artist. People say he can't get it done on 3rd and 4th down when the game has got to happen. And his career so far has been defined by failures on 3rd and 4th down. A lot of that has to do with really unfair situations, but what it also has to do with is the fact that he didn't have the tools to make this kind of thing happen. And he has those tools now. If I've got a silver lining from the absolute crap sandwich that was last week's game, it's the fact that Kaepernick kept his eyes downfield when he was under duress. Sometimes getting completely turned around, leaving himself in position to deliver the ball downfield, even when he was about to get absolutely clobbered. That is not the Colin Kaepernick of last season. That's not the Colin Kaepernick of 2013. That's not the Colin Kaepernick of 2012.
And when you're talking about that, you saw last week, you saw a little bit of that in Week 1 against Minnesota, too.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. Specifically, under pressure, climbing the pocket, stepping up. Even when his center's getting smoked, he still finds a way to step up, sidestep into a passing lane, and deliver the ball, even before he's able to take off. If you take a look at the big plays he made last week, the great passes he made in the second half, those plays were made with the exact same offensive line that failed him in the first half. But he was really effective. And so what Coach Tom Sula and Coach Christ have got to get to this week, they got to cut the cord. It is not time to hide Colin Kaepernick.
So you want to go all out passing?
Well, what I want to do is I want these guys to realize that Colin Kaepernick is not a guy who runs first and throws when he feels like it. He's a guy you have to have throw the football. And if you're going to do it, this is the week to make it happen.
All right, AJ, 2-minute drill. We each get 1 minute. Let's talk about real quick.
Shoot!
About just quick hits. For me, running backs in the passing game. I'm not sure whether Reggie Bush is going to be back this week. I hope he is, because Arizona's linebackers and safeties are not great in pass coverage. Unless you're putting, what's this kid's name from LSU? Honey Badger on defense. He might be able to cover. He might be able to cover, but they're really not good. So I really hope Reggie Bush is back this week, because I think he's a matchup that you can exploit, especially when they blitz, because they will bring the blitz against this line.
Yep.
Put him out on screens. I want to see more of that. And here's the X factor: if Bush is out, I want to see Jarrett Haynes take on that role, because I think he's not ready to be a running back. As far as the running game, he's not there yet. But as a pass catcher, I think he is ready to roll. So either whether it's Bush or Haynes, or obviously even Carlos Hyde, I want to see that aspect of the game develop on Sunday.
Solid. Outstanding points. I like where you're going at. For me, my 2-minute drill items, I've got 2 of them, and they're really basic. Okay. Kids, if you want to block out a guy who's got a lot on the line this weekend, take a look at Anquan Bolden.
81.
This is a dude who really wants to show his old team up. I know he's all about love and hugs and respect and all that kind of stuff leading up to the game. No, he wants to sack up on Sunday and make somebody pay. That's the guy you want to watch. And in the event that the game does not go the way that we hope, I highly recommend Glendronach 1995, because nothing says I'm watching shitty football like a belly full of 18-year-old scotch.
All right, and we call this now prediction time. We're going to go ahead and call all the games. We're going to just, for right now, talk about the Niners game. And at the request of some of you, we're going to go now, not just straight up with the picks, but we're going to go against the spread. So, on Sunday at 1, the spread is 6.5 for the Cardinals. And I think it's going to be a close game. I think, we're going to go back and forth. It's going to be at the shootout. It's going to be in the 20s. And I have a feeling that we might not be able to pull this off. I'm still not set on that. But I don't know if I'm going to give it to Arizona for a full touchdown. So I'm going to put my money on the Niners.
Well, all right. God, I'd love to tell you that I'm that bullish. But I'm not. And until the 49er coaching staff shows me that, A, they can shift on the fly faster than they did last Sunday, and that the offensive line can actually talk to each other in opposing stadiums, I'm not going to pick the 49ers to win a road game for the rest of this year. This right now has everything to do with the coaching staff. If they can't get their shit together on the road, I don't think the team's going to be able to get its shit together on the road. Ladies and gentlemen, as much as it pains me, I can't pick the 49ers to win this. I got to say, I think the Cards are going to take it.
So give me a score here.
Okay, my score, 28-21.
27-24 for me. So we're almost there. Well, once again, thank you for coming back this week. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at WZ_UFR.
And you can find us on Facebook at Upon Further Review.